Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Please wave if you can hear me. Great. So welcome to the SOAS Centre for Yoga Studies online lecture series. We're back. Today, let me introduce myself first of all. I'm Jim Mallinson, so I'm the chair of the SOAS Centre for Yoga Studies and lecturer. Well, I'm now the reader in Indology and Yoga Studies at SOAS. The Centre for Yoga Studies is a hub. It's a sort of a place or a space for scholars, students, and anyone interested in yoga and the academic study of yoga to come together. We're putting on various events. We're in the middle of a seminar series on yoga and philosophy. We're restarting after the summer break our lecture series. So we've got this lecture this evening, which I will tell you more about in a minute. The events are generally detailed on our Facebook page, also on Instagram. We've got a couple of things lined up already for next month. So the first one I'm going to be taking part in. It's a panel discussion for the Hatha Yoga project, which winds up at the end of this month formally, although we've got an extension. But anyway, that I and the rest of the team are going to be discussing the findings of the project in a sort of panel format and then taking questions from the audience. And then that's on the 7th of October. And on the 21st of October, we've got great Professor Shaman Hatley is going to be talking about his work on yoginis. So that should definitely be a good event. And I hope our one will be a good event as well. Now, during this evening's talk, as usual, we're going to be taking questions through the Slido page, which in your invitation to this evening's event, you would have got a link to. That sometimes, we've had this once before, there may be a problem with the link. If you click on it, it might go through to a previous lecture that we've done. I think there's one on pranayama by Lonar. So if that doesn't work, if you copy and paste the link into your browser, it should work. And finally, if that doesn't work, you can put in the code number, which is in the email 54302. This event, like all our events, is being recorded for our YouTube channel, and you can view past events on there. Okay, so now it gives me the great pleasure to introduce our speaker and his talk this evening. The speaker is Dr. Vijay Sarde. Dr. Sarde received his PhD from the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at the Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute in Pune in Maharashtra in India. The thesis was entitled Archaeological Investigations of the Nātha sampradāya in Maharashtra, circa 12th to 15th century CE. Now, Dr. Sarde has also had several articles published about the Nāth sampradāya and their sort of material remains in Maharashtra. They've been published in various national and international journals. He's contributed 10 entries on the Nāth sampradāya for the Marathi Encyclopedia for the government of Maharashtra. And he's presently working as an independent researcher in the field of archaeology and history. And he's got life memberships of the Indian History and Culture Society of New Delhi and the Indian Archaeological Society in New Delhi. So that's the formal introduction. I just sort of like to say how I became aware of Dr. Sarde's work. It was 2 or 3 years ago. And it was so about halfway through the Hatha Yoga project, in the course of which it had become extremely clear to me that the Maharashtra region was really important for our understanding of yoga's, or Hatha Yoga's early history, and of course the history of the Nāth sampradāya, the kind of formative years of the Nātha sampradāya. And that was apparent both through textual research and also through fieldwork in India with Daniela Bevilacqua. We'd been to see some places in the Deccan region that, you know, really exciting early images of Nātha-Yogīs and also yoga practice. So it was great to discover, to find out about Dr. Sarde's work then, whenever it was 2 or 3 years ago. So I immediately started paying great interest. I mentioned all his articles. Now, I think pretty much all of them, or a lot of them, are available on his academia.edu page. So you can get a wealth of interesting material there. All complete with great photographs of the many, many temples that he's visited, as we will shortly see. So, and then before handing over to Dr. Sarde, I want to thank him very, very much for agreeing to give this lecture. Also to point out that it's been extremely kind of him, because I mean, for us, it's slightly late. It's 7 p.m., isn't it? But for Vijay, who's currently in Pune in Maharashtra, it's 11:30 at night. So, well, he's a young man. I'm sure he'll be able to cope with this late night. I'm not sure I could. So I think that's it. I'm going to hand over to Vijay now. Yeah, so we'll leave 10 or 15 minutes at the end for questions, which I will return for that. But over to you, Vijay. Thank you very much.
Yes, namaskar. Hello, everyone. Thank you for introducing me, James Mallinson. So, not wasting without time, I will start my PPT's presentation. Yeah. So, actually, as I said, this is a part of my PhD thesis, and in this presentation, you will mostly find out, or you will see, you will watch various sites of Deccan region, Maharashtra, and early images of Nātha-Yogīs. So, yeah, we know that Nāth sampradāya is a very throughout the Indian subcontinent. You have various sites of Nāth sampradāya. You can find them in this map also, from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, and then Nepal to South India. Various sites are located in India. Some are early sites and some are very late sites. And we can see their density. Some sites are very in large number in Maharashtra as well. Yeah, this is the map of Maharashtra, and it has 36 districts. During my exploration, I have covered a lot of districts, and I have collected a lot of data about Nāth sampradāya. Yeah, previous work, actually, this work is actually work on the Nāth sampradāya is very less actually. A very brief work have done by scholars, and not about architectural point of view or archaeological or imagery point of view. So you can see M.N. Deshpande, except M.N. Deshpande, very less scholars have done or concentrated or having findings about Nāth images. Yeah, these are the districts where we got a lot of images about Nāth sampradāya. Now we'll start from the very famous site of Panalikāji. Panalikāji is in coastal area of Maharashtra. We can see the location of Panalikāji here, and here there are 29 caves of from ranging from early period to medieval period, and about them. Out of them, 2 caves are very important for Nāth sampradāyas. Yes, this is the ground plan of cave number 29, and we can see here on the both side of the door jamb, we have a lot of images of Nātha-Yogīs, and this is the there are a lot of caves also there. Yeah, images of Siddhas we can see. Here we can see the cave number 29, and we can see the various depictions of Siddhas. They have been depicted all over the walls of the cell. Now we will look at some of the important sites of the Pune districts. Here we can see the map of Pune districts, and you can see the various sites of Nāth sampradāya along with the Navnath Jhundi route. You can see that the black line is indicating Navnath Jhundi route, and there are many sites, Parunde, then Pimpri Dumala, Bhuleshwar, Palasde, Vadapuri, Narayanpuri. Various sites belongs to Nāth sampradāya, some of them having images of Nātha-Yogīs. Yeah, this is the temple of Brahmanatha. First we will see the site Parunde. This is the site Parunde. Here we can see there is a temple of Brahmanatha, but it is actually very late temple. We can say 100 and 200 years old. But in that temple, in Garbhagriha, sanctum, at the hall of the temple, having 4 ancient pillars, and that pillars having beautiful carvings of yogasanas. We can see the plan of that sketches of pillars, and here we can see the lot of images of Nāth-Yogīs in various postures of Hatha yoga. You can say this type of postures are carved on that pillars. Some postures are identified, however some are not identified, and most of the asanas have been identified based on manuscript. There are some text, they are showing the names of some asanas, and that in this way we can identify those asanas. See the close images of some asanas. Here we can see this is Prasarit Padottasana, then Naukasana, then the Ardha Paschimottanasana, Gherandasana, Urdhva Dhanurasana. So lot of images are there. See Ardha Matsyendranātha, then Pada Paschimottasana, Anantasana. See, some are not identified properly, so there is a lot of scope for future study also. Yes, now another important site of Pune is Pimpri Dumala. And Pimpri Dumala is a small village situated 54 kilometers away from Pune city. And there is medieval temple of Someshwara. And along with 2 water tanks, the temple is embellished with various images of deities such as Bhairava, Chamunda, then Vishnu, Ganesha, and other deities are found along with the images of Nath Siddhas. Mainly on the Janga portion of the temple, you can see here Janga portion of the temple, and lots of images of Nātha-Yogīs depicted on this portion of the temple. Yes, we can see the plan of the temple, and there is water tank just in front, just this side of the temple, and we can see the numbers of 1, 4, 6 like that. All around there are the images of Nātha-Yogīs. This temple has Garbhagraha, Antarala, then Sabha Mandapa, and then Nandi Mandapa. See other images of yogis left in the corner. We can see yogi probably in Tadasana. You can see the beautiful image of a yogi, and probably he is in Tadasana. One snake with a cobra, the Naga image is depicted in front of this yogi, and then this middle images probably of Nātha-Yogīs, and 8 not identified properly. And here we can see in this way the portion of Janga depicts lots of many various images of Nātha-Yogīs all around the temple. So this is another temple of Bhuleshwara, and it is situated 60 kilometers away from Pune district, Pune city. And here inside the temple we have images of yogis on the capitals of the pillars. There are some capitals, pillars, and on that pillars we have some early images of Nāth-Yogīs, and their iconography is very similar to other yogis of Deccan region, Nāth-Yogīs. So some of them are shown in yogic postures. We will see those images. This temple assigned to the 12th to 13th century by the scholars. See, we can see the images of Nātha-Yogīs on the capital of pillar, and some of the yogis, we can see this yogi is having goat face. See properly, on the left side is shown the goat face yogi, and they have shown with then the bags, and then the staffs, and then various armlets, wristlets, and then various positions. We can see postures. Some are in Ardha Padmasana and some are in Padmasana. Yes, I was talking about these images only. Yes, these are some asanas and hand postures. Some are the hand postures. These hand postures on the right side, this is right side, and it is a Simhakrant Mudra. See, 2 hands how he is showing. And so this is Dhamkasana, Mandukasana. This is Pashini Mudra, Dvipada Shirasana, and Aranya Chatkasana. According to Jim Mallinson, that this is similar to Pashini Mudra. But we found various names of some asanas, 2-3 names. There are 2-3 names also in text. Now, this is a map of Ahmednagar district. We can see the various sites of belongs to Nāth sites in Ahmednagar districts. Some are this Harichandragarh, then Brahmani, then Sindha, Karzat, Rashin, but out of them, some sites have beautiful images of Nāth-Yogīs. Yeah, the Brahmani village. This is a Ballalai Devi temple in Brahmani village, and this is in Ahmednagar district. 6 well-aged temples are located in this village. Out of them, Ballalai Devi temple and Matsyendranātha temple, shrine, small shrine, then Mahādeva temple are important, and these temples assigned to 14th, 15th centuries CE. The very interesting thing about this site is that in this Muslims and Hindus consider the place sacred. We can say inside the Garbhagraha there is also turbat. We can say turbat. Muslim type of that turbat is a part that some Muslim type part. We can see both things, means image also and that Muslim shrines also there. So this is the plan of Ballalai Devi temple complex. We can see here small shrine of Matsyendranātha temple, and it's assigned to 15th century. Behind that, Gorakṣanātha temple is there, but now there is no temple. It's totally ruined. And here this side Mahādeva temple is there, and then some other temples are near about this temple complex. We can see some images of Nāth-Yogīs carved on temple, on pillars. Here we can see in this image, in the slides, there are pillars, and small carvings of Nāth-Yogīs have been carved all around the pillars. We have some images of yoginis also, Nāth-Yoginis. We can say Nāth-Yoginis or Nathinis. So here we can see the images of Nāth-Yoginis. This is another yogini having staff in hand, and then sacred thread also you can see. Now this is small shrine of Matsyendranātha. It's very close to Ballalai Devi temple, and here we can see the image of Matsyendranātha. This is one of the earliest known shrine dedicated to Matsyendranātha. And on stylistic grounds, the temple can be assigned to the 15th century. Here we can see the life-size image of Matsyendranātha. Here we can see the small depiction of fish below the Matsyendranātha. Actually, this image is originally ancient, but now in modern time, image is painted by villagers. But actually, this image is assigned to 14th century along with temple. Now this is a map of Bid. Bid also is very important district. Here also we have several sites like Elam Ghat, Ambajogai, Chennai, and Bid. You can see the location of Bid district. It is almost in central part of Maharashtra. Yeah, this is the very important temple. This is the general view of Kaṇkāleśvara temple, and we can find various images carved on Janga portion of the temple. This is the Janga portion of temple, and you can see the images of Nāth-Yogīs. Here you can see the image of Matsyendranātha also. And based on architectural features of Kaṇkāleśvara temple, Deglukar and Dev assigned this temple to the 12th century CE. See, here we can see important images including various Nāths. They are having staff, and then some other attires, lion clothes, kaupin, then karnakundalas, and you can see their ornaments also. Some yogis are shown with ornaments, various types of ornament. We can see beautiful ornaments, and some are having shringis, whistles on in their hands. This is the images depicted there. Now this is Matsyendranātha, Elam, in the same district. Here we can see the images of Nāth-Yogīs, including Matsyendranātha, Chauranginath, and this is from Ambajogai, from same district. This is the Buldhana district. Here also various sites are located. We will see further in next sites various little information about them. This is the Putla Baro from Sindhkhed Raja, and in this Baro, we can see the various types of images of Matsyendranātha, Gorakṣanātha and other Nātha-Yogīs. This is the 13th century step well in Sindhkhed Raja. According to several records from Sindhkhed Raja, the ancient name of this place was Siddhapura. Siddhapur. It's also indicating that this place is important for Siddhas also as well. Yeah, we can see the images. These are the unidentified images of Nātha-Yogīs. And you can see the various types of images and their draperies. Yeah, some Nātha-Yoginis also there, some depictions of Nātha-Yoginis, and you can see some are from Mankeshvar temple, and some are from that step well. This is the another site from Buldhana district. Here also we can see lots of images of Nātha-Yogīs, and their iconography is similar to iconography of Mahudi Gate. It is in Gujarat, so we can consider that, we can say that these images are of Nātha-Yogīs because their iconography is very similar to the Mahudi Gate of Vadodara in Gujarat. See the various postures of Nātha-Yogīs. Yes, this is Vishnu temple in Buldhana district. This is famous Lonar crater, and along with there are various several temples of 12th, 13th centuries, and here we can see the image of Matsyendranātha and the depiction of fish. This is in Pune district. Just in first part, I am just giving some introductory of my findings and discoveries. After that, I will I will show you the characteristics of images and their significance in Nāth sampradāya. Here we can see the temple, Khurachi Devi temple, and Nātha-Yogīs. Here, and this is very interesting that Nātha-Yogīs means image of Matsyendranātha is carved in sanctum along with the main shrine, main deity. That is very important, and this temple belongs to 13th century. Then this is Nāganātha temple. Here we can see some postures. Some yogis are carved here in various asanas, and this temple is assigned to 12th century. Here also we can see the early image of Nātha-Yogī. There's another yogis also we can see here. So overall, we can see a concentration of the sites related to Nāth sampradāya. We can see most of the site concentrated in and around central Maharashtra. See, if you observe that here, central Maharashtra region having most images, most of the images of Nātha-Yogīs. So here I have highlighted some area. This is the we can say the core area of Nātha-Yogīs. Now, iconography of Nātha-Yogīs. So several images related to Nāth sampradāya have been carved on the various temples, rock-cut caves, gates, and water tanks, and then outside of Maharashtra also some of the images have been carved. So how we can recognize or identify the images? So there are some clues, or we can say evidences. There are some traditional legends, very popular legends. Some are given in Lila Charitra, Jnaneshwari, and other manuscripts of contemporary time period. Then some wall paintings are there. In Tibet also we can see some wall paintings having their names. Then some symbols and marks like such animals like birds, fish, creatures, and their costumes. From this we can identify them properly. Now, this is the iconography. We'll see the iconography of Adinath and Girija. Adinath and Girija. We know that Adinath is a main deity in Nāth sampradāya actually, and several legends about Adinath, Girija, and Matsyendranātha are popular across the India. These legends are useful to identify the sculpture of them. Here, that legend is depicted in this sculpture, and this sculpture, this panel rather, we can say, is assigned to 13th century, and this is from 14th century in Pannalekaji. So earlier it was thinking that Adinatha would be the yogi or main person of the Nāth sampradāya. Means some scholars, according to some scholars, they were assuming that Adinath means will be some yogi. But from this cave, from this depiction, we can firmly say that this Adinath is not other than Shiva himself. This is actually Adinatha is not a separate yogi. It is a depiction of Shiva. It is considered as Shiva, and it is also can be understand from these images that this type of legends was popular in society at least from 13th to 14th century. From that time, these legends are popular in society. We can get these things from these images. Yes, these are some images of Nāth-Yogīs, Matsyendranātha's image. This is the earliest image of Nāth sampradāya, and this temple is assigned to 12th century. And here also, here we can come across several Nāth-Yogīs in asanas. That is very interesting. We will see. Matsyendranātha gets significant position after Adinatha and Girija in Nāth sampradāya. So he is considered the first historical person in Nāth sampradāya. He is considered he is also related to many cults like all yogini cults, then Trika also, and then Siddha Marga also. So as we have seen, according to the tradition, he had encompassed the knowledge contained in it like a fish during the conversation of Adinatha and Girija. For this reason, he is always shown with fish. Traditional legends also show his association with fish. See some other images of Nāth-Yogīs. These images are from Usmanabad districts, and we can see the images having a yoga patta and fish symbol below the Matsyendranātha, and this is a famous temple of Mankeshvar. Yeah, the other depiction of the Nāth-Yogīs, Matsyendranātha. Here we can see the symbol of fish. Here also. But these two images are in the same temple, so it's create problem. Actually, their characteristics, features also are different. So we can say that there should be separate yogi having fish as a mount, but it's actually assumption. We can't sure, but there is a Māṇakeśvara in Nāth sampradāya, so probably this image is of Māṇakeśvara also. Some image means second image, and another yogi is shown with Gorakṣanātha. We can see the shringi in his hand and stuff. But we can't say that this image is of Gorakṣanātha because there is no symbol of cow and any mark is there. See another images from Maharashtra. This is a inscribed image. Yes, overall we can see the temple list where Nāth images are found. So overall, we can see the images of Matsyendranātha are mainly depicted on Shiva, Shakta and Vaishnava temples. And some are in caves and Pushkarni also. These images are noticed all over Maharashtra, which indicate his recognition universally in the area. Images have considerable variation in size, shape, postures and mudras. Early images appear to be relatively small in size. In the later period, they appeared comparatively larger. So, fish is a common character of Matsyendranātha. Excuse me. Here we can see the temple. 23 images, early images are found in Maharashtra, and these are the temple list of temples. So in this graph, we can see where Matsyendranātha have been carved on temple architecture. So some images are carved in Garbhagriha, some are in pillars, some are on pillars, even some images are carved on Adhisthana, then some are on Janga, and some are on Vitanas. This here in this architectural members, we can get the images of Nāth sampradāya, Matsyendranātha. So what we can understood about these images, means what we can understand from these images. So we can, images are helpful to dating Matsyendranātha, because some temples are dated already. And but unfortunately, that time when these temples are dated, scholars are not given information about Matsyendranātha. Then Kaul-Yogini cult and Matsyendranātha. So there are many images of Matsyendranātha found along with Yogini temple. Yogini temples means in sense of Shakta shrines. So it's also very helpful to indicate their relation between the Kaul-Yogini and Nāth sampradāya. And Nath and Konkan. We can say Konkan is a coastal land of Western India, and it extends throughout the western coast of Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka. So there are popular center sites like Kadri. Kadri is in Karnataka region, but it is falls in coastal area of Western India, and that part is included in Konkan. So Matsyendranātha is mentioned as a Siddha known as Machanda in Abhinav Gupta's Tantraloka, whose consort is called Kunkunamba. It is very interesting. The goddess from the Konkan region, and it shows the connection of Matsyendranātha with the Konkan region. As we know that Kadri, one of the important center of Nāth sampradāya, is associated with the legends of Matsyendranātha and land of women. Several sites are related to Matsyendranātha and the Nātha-Yogīs in the coastal region, like Panalekaji. Then some sites are in Gujarat, in Dabhoi, and then some are in Diu region, then some are in Ahmednagar, Ahmedabad city. So geographically, Kadri falls in Konkan region as the southernmost center. So we can say probably that Konkan Nāth is identified with Matsyendranātha. So now Chaurangi Nāth. These are some images of Chaurangi Nātha. A total of 6 images of Chaurangi Nātha has been reported. 8. 4 of them are in Maharashtra and 2 images are in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh respectively. So Chaurangi Nātha is also known as Sharangdhar and Puran Bhagat in legends and in various texts. References of Chaurangi Nātha is found in the several lists of 84 Siddhas also. He is always shown with 2 additional hands and legs in the iconography. There is a famous legend about Chaurangi Nātha, and we know about that legend. Many of them we are aware about that legend. The earliest known image of Chaurangi Nātha, most probably of 12th century, is noticed from Naresar in Madhya Pradesh. See the iconography of Gorakṣanātha now. Gorakṣanātha, actually these are the very rare images, and some images we have some images from Panalekaji, then Pimpri Dumala, and these images are from that Sindhkhed Raja in Maharashtra. Here we can see that their iconography, he is always shown with danda, cows. This is a row of cows. Here we can see, here also we can see the cows, then langot, kopin we can say, and here we can see cows. Here also 3 cows are depicted. These images are from Sindhkhed Raja. And this image, several early images of Gorakṣanātha are noticed from Gujarat, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh also. So about 14 depictions of Gorakṣanātha are noticed from outside Maharashtra. The iconography of several images is similar to the images found in Maharashtra. His images from Mankeshvar. These images are from Mankeshvar, and that temple is dated. There is one inscription, and from that inscription we can say that this is the earliest image of known image of Gorakṣanātha, and it is datable to 1170. But one thing is there, images of Matsyendranātha we found from earlier period, means 11th century, but text and archaeological sources indicating his images, his presence in 12th century. So this shows some gap in between Matsyendranātha and Gorakṣanātha. More research required for this. Now, Kāniphanātha. Kāniphanātha, this image is identified recently, and actually the reference of this image is in Lila Charitra, 13th century Lila Charitra. There are images, very few images are in Maharashtra, for some of them in Maharashtra and some of them in Gujarat. So there are the very famous legend related to Kāniphanātha is been mentioned in detail. I will tell you here. So a legend that according to story, Kāniphanātha once went to the forest of Bahudi along with his 1400 disciples, and then the voices of the pellet drums started echoing around. Kāniphanātha demanded a coconut from Yogini Bahudi, upon which she replied that if you are powerful yogi, then you should pluck the coconut yourself. Kāna plucked the coconut miraculously with his eyes and handed it over to one of his disciple. However, Bahudi stretched her eyesight and returned the same coconut to its original place. Moreover, a sequence ensued in which Kāna continued to break the coconut and Bahudi kept on returning it to its place. Eventually, Bahudi defeated Kāniphanātha in several events, including sexual practice, probably in Vajroli Mudra, in which Kāna died. This is the legend in Lila Charitra, given in Lila Charitra. And this image is the earliest image of Kāniphanātha, assigned to 12th century. And interestingly, this image is carved on Jaina temple. Then some other images also we found in Maharashtra. Another image also is in Panalekaji, and some images are in Gujarat, in Dabhoi. See, Jalandhar-Nātha. Jalandhar-Nātha is often said to have been Kapalika and Kanupa as his disciple. Jalandhar-Nātha is referred in Lila Charitra as a mentor of Govindachandra and the guru of Kāna. There is probably a panel of Kāniphanātha with his guru Jalandhar-Nātha on Kaṇkāleśvara temple. It is possible actually, because yogi shown in this image, actually this is this yogi, he is Kāniphanātha. It is the image of Kāniphanātha. Actually, same row, this image is shown with Bahudi Yogini. So from that we can say this image is also of Jalandhar-Nātha, most probably. Now other siddhas also are there. Their iconography, some icons and images we can find on various temples and caves. I'm not going to go into detail in a explain, because a lot of things are also there. So concludingly, we can say they are the images of various Nāthas. These are the numbers of images and name of the districts where images are found. So we can see how many images are found in Maharashtra. This in this table. Now, with the help of graph, also we can see the images of Matsyendranātha. More than 24 images are found in Maharashtra, and then Gorakṣanātha, Kāniphanātha, and other siddhas. So district wise also we can see Buldhana, Bid, Ahmednagar district and Pune are having more images of chief Nātha-Yogīs compared to other districts of Maharashtra. Now, Nātha-Yogīs are also known for their peculiar appearances. There are several differences and similarities amongst their appearances. It is also reflected in their images depicted on various temples and caves. Now we have this type of indications, this type of appearances of Nātha-Yogīs, and with the help of these appearances we can identify the Nātha images. Now generally they are shown with Yogapatta, they are shown with Shringi, then staffs also are there, then peculiar Karnakundalas are there, earrings, and these types of Karnakundalas mostly we found on their ear. See, now hairdresses also, Mekhlas also are there, then Adhari, Sumarani, Kamandalu, Jhola, this is Damru, and Kanthahara, Keyura. These types of appearances we found on the images of Nāth sampradāya. Now, some early sculptures evidences of yoga amongst Nāth-Yogīs. Now, there are some yogic postures, and those are related to the Nāth-Yogīs. How we can see? We'll see. The 13th century Lila Charitra mentions of the appearances and some yogasanas also, some yogic postures also, some mudras also. So several images of yogis postures in the context of Nāth sampradāya are observed on the temples of Maharashtra. The Mankeshvar temple at Jhodge, the Naganātha temple at Aundha, and Mahādeva temple at Maṇakeśvara, we have images of Nāth-Yogīs. Then some mudras are there, some cleaning techniques are there, some kumbhakas, a depiction of kumbhakas, and some depiction of kundalini also we can see on some of the temples. See some early images of Nāth-Yogīs in various postures. This is again the Pashini mudra, we can say, and the other names of this posture are Brahmasana, Phanindrasana, and Nāgaphanasana. This is Vajrasana. Then this yogi is with Kubdi. That's why this is Kubdiasana, and then Kukutasana. And some of asanas are mentioned in text also. See some yoginis also, Nathinis also are shown in some postures. She is shown in Padmasana and in Dhan Mudra. That this image is from Nashik district. Some asanas in Matsyendranātha, we can say, and this some asanas are unidentified. This asana is probably Vajrasana, and this is Paschimottanasana. Now, some Paschimottanasana we have seen that is mentioned on 14th century text, Shiva Samhita as well. And then Matsyendranātha is mentioned in Hat Pradipika and is also depicted on the Brahmanatha temple. So therefore, it indicates that Matsyendranātha was prevalent at least from the 13th century. So these images are important from this point of view also. Likewise, the antiquity of Kukutasana and Paschimottanasana goes back to the 12th and 13th centuries respectively. Padmasana and Siddhasana are the common asanas depicted more than many other asanas on several sites. So this now this is a mudra, Vajroli mudra. Actually, this is indirectly indicate the Vajroli mudra. Why I am saying this? Because it is not directly representing the method of Vajroli mudra. Nevertheless, it depicts the legend when a yogini named Bahudi, probably in Vajroli mudra, was depicting Kāniphanātha. According to the legend in Lila Charitra, Kāniphanātha went to the jungle of Yogini Bahudi and gave her challenges to her in sexual intercourse, probably practice of Vajroli mudra. Both of them were involved in sexual practice and started to resolve rajas of each other. Unfortunately, Bahudi, a worshipper of Kamakhya, acted treacherously and depicted Kāniphanātha. This legend indicates the practice of Vajroli mudra in 13th century. So this is the earliest image of Vajroli mudra. We can say indirectly it indicates the Vajroli mudra and practice of Vajroli mudra prevalent in 13th century. Now, Amroli also, one type of other mudra and one practice, Amroli. So several depictions shows yogis inserting their phalluses in their mouths. It is probably indicating Amroli mudra, in which a sadhaka drinks her urine. There are several references to Amroli in Lila Charitra. Now, some yogis are depicted probably doing pranayama also. Some see this image is of pranayama indicating pranayama, and this is actually late image from Ahmednagar district. And we can see kumbhakas also. Hat Pradipika teaches 8 varieties of kumbhakas. Breath retention. 2 images showing Sitkari. Here we can see Sitkari, the Changdeva temple. These are the depictions of Sitkari. The earliest mention of Sitkari is in Gorakṣanātha. So in this, a sadhaka makes a whistling sound while inhaling through the mouth and exhaling through the nostrils. 2 images of these yogis doing Sitkari have been shown on the fallen slab of Changdev temple in Maharashtra. Now depiction representing Kundalini Yoga. So this is the temple of Someshwar temple, 14th century temple. But there is a unique image depicted on the Someshwar temple. This image is probably representing Kundalini Yoga. A yogi is shown with half-bloomed lotus on the head. Here in this image, he is seated. See, this is an image of yogi. See the close view. Here we can see an image of showing 1,000 petal lotus on the head of yogi. In another image we can say here how Kundalini yogi, Kundalini practices shown in this image. In Nāth sampradāya, it is said that Shiva and Shakti reside in the body. In the lowest of the nerve center lies Shakti in its dormant state. The yogi arouses it and makes it follow the middle nerve, the Sushumna, and unite with Shiva, who resides in the highest center, the Sahasrara, the 1,000 petal lotus in the head. That same depiction, same thing is shown in this image. We can see here the lotus also on head. The sculptor has probably tried to manifest this aspect in this image. The yogi is seated in Padmasana and probably with awakened his Kundalini. So I can conclude in brief that the archaeological assemblage about the Nāth sampradāya is dispersed all over the districts of present Maharashtra. This indicates that the Nāth sampradāya was well established in the 12th century CE. It is difficult to say whether or not every temple which has an image of Nāth-Yogīs is associated with the Nāth sampradāya. Most of these types of temples belong to the Shaiva and Shakta pantheons. There is a high possibility that these temples have been worshipped by Nāth-Yogīs along with other Shaiva Shakta cults. It is also observed that written records and oral traditions which are prevalent in the study area have preserved long tradition of the Nāth sampradāya. It is reflected in the archaeological sources as well. The early individual shrines of Nāth sampradāya are very few. These are seen from the 13th century onwards at Panhalikaji, Matsyendranātha, Chincholi, and Brahmani, and the Sita cave at Anjaneri. We can see the individual worship of Matsyendranātha. In the iconography, several images of Nāth-Yogīs are observed in the study area. The earliest depiction of Nāth-Yogīs are noticed on the 12th century temples such as Mankeshvar temples, Jhodge, Mahādeva temples, and Kaṇkāleśvara temples. Images of Matsyendranātha and Gorakṣanātha and Kāniphanātha are predominantly noticed in the Maharashtra. 24 images of Matsyendranātha, whereas 8 images of Gorakṣanātha and 5 or 6 images of Kāniphanātha are in Maharashtra. Antiquity of images of Kāniphanātha goes back to 12th century. This evidence indicates their recognition and popularity in Maharashtra as well. It is also noticed that districts like Buldhana, Beed, Ahmednagar, and Pune have more images of the chief Nātha-Yogīs compared to other districts in Maharashtra. It is perceived from the images of female ascetics depicted on the temple that the role of the female ascetics was prominent in the Nāth sampradāya. Even they were allowed to do Nātha practices such as yoga, because we have some images of Nāth-Yoginis on temples. Hatha yoga is one of the important practices in Nāth sampradāya. Several images of yogic postures have been carved on the several temples in Maharashtra. The reference of several asanas and other practices of yoga depicted on temple and caves are also noticed in contemporary literary sources also. It seems that yogic practices were prevalent from the early stage of Nāth in Maharashtra. The evidence related to the Nāthas also indicates that the sampradāya played an important role in the religious, social, and cultural history of Maharashtra. So thank you. I will stop here, and thank you for to listen me. I would like to thank to Jim Manelson and Martha and SOAS University and my guides, Shrikant Jadhav and Abhijit Dandekar and Dilip. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vijay. Can you hear me okay? My thing's back on, is it? Can you hear me, Vijay?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Great. Thank you. I can't see my picture for some reason. That was wonderful. I could have, I mean, yeah, I could have listened to you for hours more, and I enjoyed the images so much. But it's sort of tinged with some sadness, as I'd want to get on a plane straight out and go and visit and have a look at them myself. But we're going to have to wait for a chance to do that again. But yeah, that was a real tour de force. I have got a lot of questions, but I think I will just try to restrict myself to one. We've also got, because we've got quite a lot of questions on the Slido page as well. So one question I'm going to ask, I mean, you showed, I can't remember how many sites in total in Maharashtra. Do you know off the top of your head how many sites there are? Where you've
there are many sites actually, but we feel if we restrict in 12th century or 11th to 15th century, most probably more than 50 sites we will get. Yes.
Okay, but you then, I mean, and as I said in the introduction, it's come clear from textual sources as well that that Maharashtra was a very important location for the early Nāth sampradāya. But you did mention some sites outside of Maharashtra, such as Dubai, which I have visited. Also, this fascinating reference to the Mankeshvara temple in Odisha, this very early Gorakṣanātha. And Naresar in MP, you showed a
yes, Naresar in MP.
So my question is, do you think there are, I mean, have you restricted in your thesis, your PhD, did you restrict yourself to the Maharashtra region because, for any particular reason, I mean, just because you're from there and obviously that's the way you focused your project, do you think there may be many more places outside of Maharashtra?
Yes, of course. There is a high possibility actually, because of some of the yogis images I have shown from outside of Maharashtra, like Odisha, Orisha, then MP, and then Gujarat. So there is possibility actually, but till date, very few scholars have done work on these images. So from Maharashtra, now we have early images of Nātha-Yogīs. But there is probably, possibility of images we can found outside of Maharashtra also, as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I mean, as I said, your work, you mentioned there's been one or two previous scholars who've worked on these sort of images in Maharashtra, but outside of Maharashtra, I don't think anyone's really tried to look for these things. So as ever in India, there's a huge amount of data that, and field work and work still to be done.
Yes, a lot of work.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna we'll go through the Slido list of questions. The one at the top currently is from Seth Powell, who will be joining us, I think, from California. And so hopefully Martha can switch us over to him so he can ask his question directly.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Jim, Martha, Vijay. Thank you so much for just fantastic presentation and such rich images. Just quick question to focus our attention on the Brahmanatha temple in particular. Those images are so fascinating. I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about that site in particular. Why do you identify those as Nātha-Yogīs? And then why, second, why do you think that they're yogic postures versus something else? Some of the identification of asanas, are from much later texts or even more modern postural yoga traditions. So I'm curious a little bit about the identification of those asanas, and then in particular, what's the evidence for Nāth at that site? Thank you.
Okay, nice question actually. Yes, because Parunde, we can see in earlier that in my PhD thesis, I have explained minutely why this is this site belongs to Nātha sampradāya. Because we found that in this Kumbh Mela also 2016, many yogis came there and they worship there. And there is also one dargah of Gorakṣanātha. And traditionally, we can see that in that region, Brahmanatha, there is also one monastery of Nāth sampradāya, just attached that temple. there is another monastery of Nāth, belongs to Nāth sampradāya, and traditionally also that place is known for Nātha-Yogīs, and lots of sites are there, and legends also are there prevalent in that area. So because of these evidences, these legends, we can say that site belongs to Nāth sampradāya. And we can see, if you see the iconography of that yogis, that postures, so iconography also similar to other icons of Deccan region and other area of Maharashtra. So these are the few things. Harichandragarh also is very famous site of Nāth sampradāya, is very close from that that area. The Navnath Jhundi passing from that area, and traditionally also that temple is and that region is much famous for Nātha sampradāya, Nātha sites. That's all. There are also many reasons. So in this way, we can say that I have attached this image, this site to Nāth sampradāya in this way. And another question was that about yogasanas. That yogasanas also early, because of the there are analogical study. If we will do similarity of the images, postures, and then artistic study, then we can recognize that those images are yoga images related to yogas and belongs to Nātha sampradāya. First means we can say tradition, then legends, then vicinity of other Nāth sites, Nāth monastery is there, then one of Dargah naming Gorakṣanātha in that village. So in this way we can attach that site to Nāth sampradāya.
Okay.
What other question also I think he asked different set about yoga. This much only? Yeah. Hello?
Seth, do you have more to say, or?
Yeah. I think like you, Jim, probably many more questions, but I'm happy to leave it at that for now and let others jump on. But thank you, Vijay. I'd love to talk further, about all this. So thank you.
Definitely.
Okay. So the next question, we've got an anonymous one. It's top of the list at the moment. A very easy, quick question. How old are the pillars on which the yogis are depicted at the Brahmanatha temple?
13th century. Yeah, scholars also dated 13th century, 14th century we can say, but 13th century now confirmed, because I have taken information about other scholars also, approach other scholars, archaeologists, and I also that we can say that pillars belongs to 13th century.
Okay, and just out of interest, how are those dates arrived at? Is it through stylistic and architectural grounds, or are there any inscriptions?
Some temples have inscriptions, some architectural stylistic grounds, we can say that. And that, yes, there are some texts also. Some asanas, their mentions is in later text, means Gheran Samhita and other text. But now this is possibility. Now some texts which are given in later text, now we have to search, we have to find out that these asanas, the historicity and the antiquity of some of the asanas goes back to 13th, 12th century. And we have to search for another text for that.
Of course, no, I quite agree. Just because something isn't in just because something is not in a text doesn't mean it wasn't being done. So yeah, that's a good point. Okay, we got lots more questions. Right, top of the pile now is Vikram. So he's got a question. If Martha could take us to Vikram and he can ask it directly.
Hi Vijay, thanks again for the amazing presentation. I just echo what Seth had said before. The simple question maybe about the Nāth-Yogīs wearing a small horn around their neck, and I've seen them in 17th century pictures, but I didn't see that level of detail in any of the statues from 13th century, 12th century that you showed. When did it start being part of the Nāth tradition, as well as what is its significance?
Yes, about wearing that shringi and other things. You are asking about that shringis only. So now whatever we are seeing in today's Nāth sampradāya, is actually, if you observe the images of early images of Nātha-Yogīs, we see different views, different aspect, different view of Nātha-Yogīs. Means at that time we can see the size of horns are different. Now it is very small size, but that time we can see the big horns, and their postures, their appearance also we can see different. They are not, now we can see the Nāthas that they are shown with some beaded and some different postures. But that time in 12th 13th century, according to me, this tradition probably start after 15th 16th century. Whatever in what we can see in modern time, I think so, because in earlier images we can't found now the popular images or popular imagery of Nātha-Yogīs in that time. There is very total different. And some of the attributes are still, they have long tradition, that yoga patta and mekhla, and then some karna kundalas also. So that is continue, but other things are vanished, or we can say disappear after some time, after 15th century or 14th century. And now modern look is different. Yeah. Any other? Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was fascinating to see. I hadn't noticed before the yogis holding the quite big singhi in the hand like that, but not wearing around the neck. So I think, yeah, you're onto something there, that then later on they start wearing around the neck, and then I guess they have to get smaller, because that would be quite uncomfortable to wear those big horns around the neck. And you see the same in the Mughal images as well. In the early ones, they have quite big singhi, and then they get smaller.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got, I don't think we'll get through all the questions. We might do, but let's see. Next one is from Lucy May Constantini. So if we can go to her, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. No, yes.
So just to echo what everyone else said, that was wonderful, and also made me kind of rather homesick. So thank you very much for that. So my question was around the image of the Adinatha and Girija, and there was a third figure, and I didn't know who that was. Maybe I missed it, but it reminded me a little bit of the layout you see in the Somaskandas in other parts of South India, and I was wondering if you think there's a relationship.
With text, you are asking about text.
No, I'm asking about, so in temples, particularly in Tamil Nadu, you see the layout of the Somaskanda, like Umaskanda, and the three in that way.
Okay, but in Panalekaji, Shiva is shown in yogic postures, means you are like yogi. You know, and that if you see the legend, that legend is given in Lila Charitra also in 13th century. Lila Charitra, one text is there, famous Marathi text is there, and that legend is famous from 12th 13th century. And there is, we can see the depiction of Matsyendranātha with fish. Are you getting me? That because of Matsyendranātha is along with Shiva, that yogi, and that legend, and he is shown with Namaskar Mudra. When we do Namaskar, that he is that showing that he is doing Namaskar, that pranam to his guru, that Parvati, Girija and Adinatha. So in that way, and that other images also along card on that same cave are identified as Nātha images. So that's why we can say that particular images also belongs to Adinatha and Girija and that there is no different. Somakanda, I don't know about that actually too much, that much, but this is the image of Adinatha because of iconography, and earlier one scholar M.N. Deshpande also proved that this is image of Adinatha and Girija in very well in his monograph. His small monograph is on that Panalekaji, very interesting. In that he has mentioned that this is iconography image of Adinatha and Girija and Matsyendranātha. Any other?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think that Lucy, the third figure is Matsyendranātha's, but maybe there's something to do with the layout. I suppose there could conceivably be parallels, but yeah, it's definitely not Skanda. Okay, thanks, Vijay. So we have a question from Gemma D'Alessandro, but unfortunately she's just had to leave, but she will listen to the answer to the question on YouTube. So her question was, the postures asanas here represented, excluding what we today know as Matsyendranātha, do the postures come before or after the iconography? And that just a sort of a related point. I remember discussing with Daniela and others in the Hatha Yoga project, we were wondering whether the Matsyendranātha is connected with the fact that he's sitting on a fish. So he has to be depicted sideways in order to be seen straight on, and that perhaps it's connected. But yeah, so the question is, do you think that the, what came first, the postures or the iconography? I suppose that it's the most closely answered with that.
Maybe posture, we can say, because there are a lot of postures and tradition. If you see the tradition of asanas, so this is easy actually, and there are varieties of asanas, and this is possible that iconography should be later and the asana should be first, because there are many trends or many practices are happened before. So posture will be first, and Matsyendrasana, image of Matsyendra will be later. Or then he actually he can also famous for that, that asana particular. He represent in society, or in he introduce, or he given more trace. It may be, or because of fish also he's done. But what I have shown here, that is different actually. There is not show that there is no fish depiction. That is shown without fish, and that is doing by some other yogi. So it will be that actually fish will be that depiction of Matsyendranātha will be next, means later, and then posture will be first, according to me. But more research will be required.
Yeah. I suppose it's an almost impossible question to answer, isn't it? Okay, so we've got one a question from Jackie Hargreaves. If we could go to her, please.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you, Vijay. That was wonderful. I had a question about, it was really interesting to hear about the sculptural depiction of the Vidroli scene, and this. I was just wondering, what do you find on panels either side? Is there a relationship between the panels either side of the depiction there of the Kāniphanātha and Bahundi? Is it? Of the Vidroli legend. Is there usually a consistency to the sculptural panels that you see either side of that legend?
That what pardon means that what you asking exactly means. Can you repeat question?
Yeah, so in the sculptural panels that you find that particular legend depicted, is there any consistency to stories that are told either side of that?
But yeah, yes, actually in my thesis I have given detailed description about that site also, particular site, where and when this will be happen, means should be happen. So I have found that if you observe that image, you will find one coconut tree. So in India, most of the coconut trees are we have in South India or in coastal region. So most probably that legend happened in South India, and that there is one legend also, Matsyendra, and it's about Matsyendranāth, Jalandharnath, Gorakṣanātha, and Kāniphanātha. When Gorakṣanātha was asking about that Jalandharnath, your guru is in Bengal. So that time Kāniphanātha said that your guru, where is he? He is in Kadri, and that with women. So Kadri is in South India. So in this way, we can say that he was aware about that area also, and that area also known as Yogini, means the area of what we can say, the state of Yogini, or the related to Yogini. So most probably this legend happened in near about Maharashtra, because now still that we have images from Maharashtra only, Maharashtra and Gujarat. So it is also very now we can't say that where is actually happened this story, or there some relation is there or not, but most probably near about Maharashtra or in South India, somewhere in South India, this story is legends are there. But in Maharashtra, there are a lot of legends are famous about that, about this. Means there are in text also, in Navnath later text also, and in earlier text also.
Okay, thanks. I mean, I think Jackie was wondering also, I mean, the legends that go with these, with the Nātha-Yogīs, in their depictions on the temples, whether there's any kind of a regular pattern. And in fact, I think our next question sort of feeds into that. So if we could go back to Seth Powell, who's got a question related to that point.
Hi, Vijay. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this Nāganātha schema, you know, because I'm doing work on visual materials in Karnataka more, and we start to see, I think, early 16th century, this Nāganātha depicted visually, where you have 9 Nāths, and they're all seated on these animal vahanas. You know, of course, you showed some wonderful images of both Matsyendra and Gorakṣa, which of course we can identify with fish and cow. But some of these other Karnataka sites, 16th century and later, you start to see these Nātha-Yogīs seated on a scorpion, on a snake, antelope. There's some variants. So we of course have, you know, the Telugu Nāganātha Charitramu, but that doesn't describe these animals associated with them except for fish and cow and so forth. So I'm wondering if in Maharashtra, do you see this in any of these sites? Do you start to see more of these animals relating to these Nātha-Yogīs, or anything you can share about this?
Yes. I can share many things about that, about this. Actually, Navnathas, I have seen that near Ulsuru, near Bangalore, we have depiction of Navnathas, Ulsuru, and somewhere one paper is also there on that. But interestingly, I have observed some earlier images, means from 12th century, 13th to 12th century in Gujarat. There is one Bawdi that I have mentioned in my thesis also, dissertation. In Gujarat, there 9 yogis are depicted serially. In that stepwell is there in Gujarat. Modhera is place, name of place is there, and where there we can find other yogis also. So in Maharashtra there are many means several images are having animals figurines, animals depictions, but still it is very difficult to identify them. Which yogi is there, and when we observe Navnathas, list of Navnathas, so we can see the variation in that. Some means Matsyendranātha will be common, sometimes Gorakṣanātha will be common, Jalandharnātha, Charpatinātha also sometimes is common, but other 4 or 5 Naths they are not commonly found. They are locally, I think there is local variation, local names or local siddhas are included in lists, whatever available lists are there of Navnathas. So local siddhas, famous yogis may be that give shown in list. So that's why this animals, scorpion, and that they have maybe they are local animals, but their iconography of Karnataka, Vijayanagar period and Maharashtra is quite different. Actually, these are the earliest images, and that Karnataka's images are very later. So tradition in last 1000 years, many changes happened in Nāth sampradāya. So slowly some, I think so, it's actually we have to prove that this actually, but I think so many things are came in into Nāth sampradāya and changes also some, so that's why I can say that those images are, some of those images are not about that Matsyendranātha or Gorakṣanātha. However, that Navnath Charitramu saying something, but not saying that the mounts. So maybe those images are local Naths, apart from Matsyendranātha and some Gorakṣanātha of the few images. Yeah, any other?
We're almost, there's a couple other questions, but I'm afraid I'm going to jump in with my own question, which leads on from what Seth asked. And this is the last question, then you can go to bed. Sorry, we've kept you up very late. But at Dubai, it's very clear that there's a series of 12 Nātha-Yogīs, and the number is 12, whereas later on traditionally is always said to be 9. And I'm just wondering, perhaps this, sort of carrying on from Seth's question, have you seen any groupings in Maharashtra of 12 or 9 or any large, clear kind of organized groupings of Nāth-Yogīs?
No.
But
in Gujarat, yes, there is in Gujarat and Karnataka, 2-3 examples.
You said in Modera. And these ones in Gujarat and Karnataka are early as well?
Gujarat one is earlier.
Yeah.
That Modera is assigned to 12th and 13th century.
Okay, Daniela and I, we went to Modera, but we didn't see it, so I'll have to check.
Yes. And on that Sri Shailam also, sir. Sri Shailam, there is also some depiction of nine Nāthas, serially. If you find seriously observe, then we will get that in those images.
Okay.
But very less images of Nāthas, very less.
Okay, Vijay. Well, thank you. That was really fun. And as you can tell, there's a lot of interest, and it's really exciting to that this fresh work is coming out, and you've really reminded us how much more material there is out there. There's so much more work that can be done, and hopefully things will open up and people can go out for more field work and come and meet you. Maybe go and check out some of these sites with you would be wonderful.
Yeah,
so what we do now is everyone is going to unmute themselves, and we're going to say thank you, give you a round of applause, and then you can go and go to bed. I'm sure you must be exhausted, but thank you so much. That was really wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.